Hello everyone, it is Jazz here, and today I am doing the Olympics book tag. Now I know that I am a little bit late on the Summer Olympics tag train, but I have two reasons for really wanting to still do this tag. And the first one is this is the first time that I've actually been tagged for a tag, and I was tagged by my friend AJ over at A Stitch in Time. So thank you AJ for tagging me. And the second reason is that the Secret Stacks, who created this tag, he just came up with some really cool questions. So I really wanted to do it, and let's go on with this Olympic themed tag. Question 1, opening ceremony. What book did you think had an incredible opening? I wanted to pick a book that I've never picked for a tag before, and thus I decided to go with Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I really wanted to choose this book for this question because it has one of the most famous opening lines in Lit, and also I really like how the beginning of that book shows the dynamic of the Bennet family. And that's very important, obviously, because it really does factor into the relationship between Lizzie and Darcy and all the stuff that goes on. Question 2, the games. What is your favorite fictional competition? I really had to think hard on this one because I couldn't think of many books that contain competitions except for the Hunger Games, and even though I love the Hunger Games books, you gotta admit that the Hunger Games ain't cool, so they're definitely not my favorite. And I did realize that in TV world, I often like a good joust or a good duel with swords, and the only books I could really think of that had either of those things were a book that I'm currently reading, Le Morte d'Arthur, or The Princess Bride. I'm going to go with dueling / jousting. Then again, they're probably just as dangerous as the Hunger Games. Right, I just like how nice these books look together. That's the important thing. Question 3, the original. The modern Olympics are based on the original Greek games. What is your favorite book that is based on a classic? So I decided to pick books that were actually based on classic books and not fairy tales, because I kind of think they're two different things. There's a toss-up between the Looking Glass Wars trilogy, which is based on Alice in Wonderland, or Peter and the Starcatchers, which I still need to read the rest of the series, but this book is based on Peter Pan. Question 4, Eternal Flame. Pick a ship that you are totally obsessed with and you love, even though the books made it very clear that that relationship was never going to happen. I don't have an answer for this one, just because I rarely ship people in books. And when I do, on that rare occasion, like I haven't had a moment where I've been disappointed with the couple that the author came up with. I think I would have to read a few more series books than I actually do read to actually get that feeling. So maybe later I'll have an answer for this question, but right now, not so much. Number 5, gymnastics. What book had so many twists and turns that it left your head spinning in a good way? I decided, after much thought, to just go with The Stand by Stephen King. In a book this long, you have to have a lot of twists and turns. Number 6, controversial judge. What is a book that you have a totally different opinion on than most other people? Now it's about to get real controversial up in here because I don't like Harry Potter. You hear that? That's the sound of rotted fruit and vegetables flying at my face. I did try to make a really valiant effort because I just found myself unable to complete any of the books to like it by watching the movies, and I have to say, now that I've watched all the movies, that it still isn't my cup of tea, just because I don't really like the premise, the plot, or many of the characters. That's gonna really hurt your viewpoint of the book. But the real reason why I have not read the books and have no real desire to is because I don't really like J.K. Rowling's writing style. I feel like she's very fond of these long sentences that are full of a lot of adverb and adjective clutter, if you will, and just like 50 billion commas. I compare it to kind of what it feels like to read Kerouac Yes, it's like Kerouac for children. And there's a reason why I don't read Kerouac either. It's because of that same reason. I just find when that happens, I am sitting there wanting to kind of rewrite and take some words out of every sentence in the book, and then that kind of stresses you out. And if reading is going to stress you out, you probably should not read it. My other issue with these books actually has nothing to do with the actual literature or films. It has to do with people that I've met in real life, not on booktube, because booktube people have actually been really cool about this. But people I've met in real life actually don't want to be my friend because I don't like the Harry Potter books. And I think that's really sad. Like, I like other books, like we both like to read. Those experiences have definitely hurt my feelings and made me less inclined to read the books. I fully understand that you guys are very passionate about those books. I feel the same way about other books, but yeah, don't break up a friendship over it. Rant done. Number 7, beach volleyball. What is your favorite fictional duo? The epic fun friendship and partnership between Applecore the fairy and Theo the main character of The War of the Flowers by Tad Williams. They are just so funny. They have a lot of witty banter. They don't always agree, but they get stuff done. And also there's another character in here that they join up with, and he's pretty fun. So it's kind of an epic fun friendship trio. Question 8, weightlifting. What is the most massive book on your shelf? I have many massive books, so I had to narrow it down by going ones that were over 1,000 pages. So it's definitely a toss-up between The Stand, my battered complete works of Shakespeare, or the complete Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, I'm weightlifting now. Wow, that is really heavy. Number 9 is name your favorite sport, and I'm actually more of a Winter Olympics person than a Summer Olympics person. So my favorite Olympic sport is figure skating. The question for this one is, what is a book that you finished in record speed? Now there have been a couple, but I decided to go with Breaking Dawn by Stephanie Meyer, the 4th book in the Twilight series. The reason I kind of had to finish this in record speed was that I actually went to the release party for this book with my mom. So when we got home, I let my mom read this book first, and thus I had to really stay off the internet because I did not want to be spoiled on what was going to happen in the book. So my mom finished it luckily very quickly, and in order to not be spoiled, I read most of it in one night, and then I finished it up kind of early the next day, which is a feat because this is a pretty thick book. Number 10 is synchronized swimming. What is a book series that you kept reading even though you had no idea why you were still reading it? The Divergent series by Veronica Roth. The first book to me was just okay. I really should have just put down the series then because I knew I wasn't in love with the initial book. Yet again, I didn't really like the plot, premise, or characters. But because there was so much controversy around the books, I felt really pressured to complete them and weigh in on my thoughts on it. Why, I don't know. And I really do think the second and third books did not have very good structure. It actually has nothing to do with how this series ends in my reasoning why I don't like it. At least I gave it an effort and I pushed through, but I really just should have left it at the first book. 11, tortured fan. What is a fictional family, group, association, organization that you root for even though it tends to break your heart? I decided to go with maybe The Family in the Thornbirds by Colleen McCullough because I root for this family in this book, even though their relationship starts off bad and there really isn't any hope of getting better. But you know what? I root for the fact that they all want to try to survive in that Australian outback, even though they make me think, do you really want to hurt me? Number 12, closing ceremony. What is a book that had an ending that just blew your mind. And I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again and go with American Gods by Neil Gaiman. The second time I read it, it still blew my mind. The way things come together in this book will just surprise you and mystify you, and it will blow your mind. And number 13, relay race. Who are you going to tag? It's gonna tag whoever wants to do this tag because, you know, the Olympics are over. But if you still feel like you want to do this tag because it sounds fun to you, I'll tag you. So that was the Olympics book tag. I know I went into some bookish rants on this tag, and hopefully you didn't mind that. Anyway, that is it, and I will see you next week. So thank you for watching. Bye!